The US doesn't have a monopoly on war films, and some of the best war movies ever made were released outside the Hollywood system. The war genre is unique among other film categories because it doesn't necessarily have a direct focus. Some war movies embrace action and bravado, while others explore the real-world consequences of conflict. There are tons of great American war movies, but nearly every film-producing nation has also put their own spin on the genre. Worldwide conflicts feature multiple perspectives, and the war genre is a perfect platform to explore history through various cultural lenses. Foreign war films are just as varied and complex as their American counterparts. From bombastic action films to harrowing dramas, the war genre has allowed filmmakers to tell stories in their unique voices without limiting them. Each country's war movies are a glimpse into their individual perspectives, and they can sometimes stand in stark contrast to American projects. Most importantly, the best foreign war films are just well-made movies. Silmado, 2003. The South Korean epic, Silmado, is like a flashback to classic war films from a bygone era, and in that way it has a mass appeal. The story concerns a unit of criminals who are trained for a secret mission, only to eventually have to take on their own trainers in a bloody fight to the death. It's loosely based on a real event, though artistic license is used. Where the movie really shines is in its character work, and all the members of Unit 684 have distinct personalities and desires. While it opts for a grandiose approach to storytelling, Silmado still has plenty of thrills that make the war genre so appealing in the first place. All Quiet on the Western Front, 2022. The classic novel, All Quiet on the Western Front, has seen its fair share of adaptations, but the 2022 German version is the best thus far. The film follows an idealistic young German soldier during World War I, who is eventually traumatized by the horrors of war. The book's message remains intact all these decades later, but the movie adds things too. The added storyline concerning the armistice is a brilliant touch, and it contributes even more depth to the main plot. The film's soaring cinematography communicates the scope of the battle sequences, and it's one of the most beautiful war films ever shot. Underneath all that is a stunning lead performance, and it anchors all the movie's anti-war ideas. Downfall, 2004. Downfall is perhaps the most raw and unflinching portrayal of WWI-era Germany, and one of the most complete pictures of Hitler ever put on screen. The nearly 3-hour epic is told from the perspective of Hitler's secretary as she narrates his final days during the end of the Second World War. The movie plays fast and loose with details, but it's all in service of crafting a compelling portrait. Downfall isn't about battle scenes, but is instead meant to show the evil simplicity behind one of the worst regimes in history. In that way, it manages to be more shocking than even the most bombastic war movie. The Grand Illusion, 1937. The Grand Illusion is Jean Renoir's World War I classic, and it stands as one of the all-time greats of French cinema. The film follows a group of French POWs who must overcome their class differences to escape from German custody. Unlike many of its war film contemporaries, the war itself is merely a backdrop for deeper social commentary. Made just 2 years before the outbreak of World War II, The Grand Illusion was shockingly prescient. Renoir's characters are quirky and unique, and the film features brilliant cinematography. One thing many non-American war films do well is use the genre as a platform for larger ideas, and The Grand Illusion is actually a call for class solidarity. Army of Shadows, 1969. The French-Italian co-production, Army of Shadows, has a bleak message that it wraps in the guise of a spy thriller. The main characters are French resistance fighters who embark on daring missions fighting against the occupation. What looks like a basic action-adventure story is actually a dark takedown of violence in general. Army of Shadows isn't without its controversies, especially because the film seems to have a mixed message. While showcasing the seemingly heroic actions of its lead characters, it also makes a point to show violence in all of its unflinching horror. All in all, Army of Shadows is a beautiful piece of war cinema that deconstructs the notion of idealism. Dunkirk, 2017. Director Christopher Nolan brought spectacle back into the realm of the war film, and Dunkirk is quickly becoming a modern classic. The movie recounts the harrowing events of the 1940 evacuation of Allied troops from Dunkirk Beach. Using almost no dialogue, Dunkirk is a visual feast and a lesson in the various methods of storytelling on screen. Nolan's commitment to practical effects shines in Dunkirk, and it helps heighten the drama. The narrow focus on a brief moment in the war is an ingenious way to encapsulate the entire conflict, and the visuals have yet to be matched. Dunkirk isn't just one of the great modern war films, but one of the best movies of the 2010s. The Battle of Algiers, 1966. It would be the understatement of the century to say that the Battle of Algiers is a complex movie, and the Italian-Algerian co-production isn't like most war films. Set at the height of the conflict between French forces and Algerian rebels during the Algerian War, the movie shows both sides committing acts of violence for their cause. While many war films glorify conflict and violence, there is a solemn tone to the Battle of Algiers that never lets the audience forget what they're supposed to be feeling. It has an almost documentary-like quality, which adds increased emphasis to the explosive moments. The movie's scale might be somewhat small, but its scope is massive. Das Boot, 1981. Besides being one of the great non-American war movies, Das Boot is without a doubt the greatest submarine film ever made. In the waning days of World War II, a German submarine faces various challenges that test the moral of the men and their leader. The gritty action flick captures the claustrophobia of its setting, while showcasing explosive moments too. Das Boot is essentially a metaphor for Germany during the war, and the film embraces the excitement of war movies without cutting any of its subtle messaging. The pressure builds as things get more intense, and its epic running time allows for even deeper examination of its characters and their motivations. Grave of the Fireflies, 1988. Studio Ghibli is best known for producing whimsical movies with lots of heart, but 1988's Grave of the Fireflies is the odd man out in the studio's catalogue. The bleak anti-war film follows two orphans who traverse the Japanese countryside as World War II draws to a close. Symbolic and unforgiving, Grave of the Fireflies is unbelievably heartbreaking. With war as the backdrop, the story is really about the bond between siblings. The best war movies find a way to introduce human elements into their larger conflicts, and Grave of the Fireflies is a textbook example. All of its deeper meaning and drama is capped off by beautiful animation, and it's still one of Studio Ghibli's best movies. Come and See, 1985. Belarus isn't usually a big player in the world of cinema, but the nation produced the greatest non-American war film with Come and See. A young boy joins the resistance movement when Germany invades Belarus during World War II, but his boyhood adventure slowly becomes a nightmare. Across 2.5